RIP, rest in paradise, to the master teacher, Neely Fuller Jr., the master teacher who is quoted as saying, if you do not understand white supremacy, how it works, and what it is, everything else that you do understand will only confuse you in all 9 areas of people activity: economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. Minute by minute, day by day, all the time. So rest in peace to that master teacher who was one of the prime inspirations for another master teacher who transitioned before him, Dr. Francis Cress Wilson, who wrote the infamous book, The ISIS Papers. I have read and studied both of their works, The United Independent Constitutory System. I've read all the versions, studied both of them. Phenomenal, life-changing books. With that being stated, I'd rather die like a man than to live as a coward. There's a ghetto up in heaven, and it's ours, Black Power. And this ain't on no radical stuff, but that's a true statement, because every time when you live as a coward in this life, you will suffer multiple deaths, not in the physical, but in the mental and in the spiritual. Whenever you can't operate as an alpha male, as a truly dominant alpha heterosexual male, and you have to lower yourself and operate as a beta male and tuck your tail between your ass and tuck in your penis and walk like you got a stick up your ass just to make it in this world economically in corporate America, then that is a death. That is a death, not in the physical, but in the mental and the spiritual. So with that being stated, at times I forget that we live in this system of white supremacy and that this system has not been replaced with a system of justice. And if you look at my last video, maybe towards the end of it, I may have forgotten that. Like, it's in the back of my mind, and sometimes I forget, oh, this is why this is happening. Like, once you understand, like, as the great master teacher said, white supremacy, then nothing confuses you no more. But if you don't understand it, then everything's going to confuse you. So I resolved at this time, from this point, I'm not going to talk about it no more. I'm not going to worry about it no more. I understand the system that I live in, and understanding that system, I got to make moves. Like, maybe I'm not the type for corporate America, because from what I understand and what I see, in order to be a black male in corporate America, you got to tuck your ass. You got to tuck your tail. Because if you are too alpha, if you're too, which means that alpha doesn't mean you're aggressive, but you just speak your mind. Like, you stand by your word. You're not willing to compromise who you are or your integrity. If something's not right, you don't just say, "Well, I'm just not going to say anything," because you address it in a respectful manner, right? And if you operate like that as a black male in corporate America, you're going to be seen as aggressive. As the conversation that I had with the dispatcher, the manager this morning, and she said, "Oh," and when she used that aggressive word, I said, "Oh, aggressive." I said, "Okay, aggressive is just speaking. It's just speaking your mind. It's not even. You're not using any foul language. You're not losing any vulgar language. You're just saying, hey, this is not right. I don't feel like I'm being treated right, or this is not." And you're just expressing that in a direct manner, professional, but that's aggressive if you're a black male, right? Because you're not supposed to be that way. You're supposed to be docile. You're supposed to walk like you got a stick up your ass. You know, that's what they want. And that's when you look at corporate America and you see all the black males that are successful in corporate America, you will see, and it's the reality. They're docile, or they're just homosexual, because that's what it takes. It's the reason, going back in times past, a reason why when you see about diversity and they're trying to be inclusive, they get the black female. The black female, for the most part, has never had a problem getting into corporate America, because the black female is usually going to be that female, docile, obedient, not challenging anything. That's just the nature of what a female is usually supposed to be. And so when they look at that black female, they say, okay, we satisfy two of these diversity requirements. We satisfy the one requirement, the female, and we satisfy the other requirement, she's black. So that's two. We check off two boxes. Whereas if we just hired a black male, we just check off one, unless he's LGBTQ, which is why they added that as an option. And a lot of these questionnaires, when you get to the end of the application and they're talking about diversity, a lot of them ask you that, because they say, okay, if you check that box, then they satisfy two or three of the requirements. But if you don't check that box, if you just say, I'm a male, I'm black, I'm heterosexual, I don't have a disability, you only check one box and it doesn't help them out, right? That's why DEI never benefited us. Get rid of who gives a hell about DEI? It don't a bit, all these talking points that, oh, DEI this, DEI that shit never benefited a heterosexual alpha black male in corporate America. Look who it benefits women, and it benefits the LGBT community. That's who it benefits. And in particular, if you're a woman and you're a minority, well, you LGBT, you check off 3 or 4 boxes. So what I've come to the conclusion, and I won't talk about it no more. If you see a video about it again, I must have forgot, but I'm saying that right now, right this moment, understanding the system that we live in, which is a system of white supremacy, I'm not going to discuss it no more. I'm making my moves, and I'm saying, you know what, maybe America's not for me. And I know the system of white supremacy is all over the world. All over. You can't escape it. Right now, you can't escape it. Whether it's there directly or indirectly, it's still there. You go to India, they got the caste system. You go to South America, they got the whites, the white Latinos on top and the blacks on the bottom, right? But what I do know is that while America still has some recognition, that when I go abroad, in my experience, I'm American first, I'm black second. here I'm black first, and maybe American second. So I said, okay, I can use that to my advantage. Understanding that racism is everywhere, I can use that part to my advantage. He's American. Okay, he's a black American. But he's American first. And that can give me an advantage in using my qualification, because I'm not going to be able to use them here. I've come to the realization they want to keep me in a certain box. They want to keep all of us in a certain box. And that's just the way it's going to be. You know, and if you're not willing to put up with it, you know, you're going to be ostracized. You're going to be, you know, potentially you could be assassinated. So, yeah. That being said, peace.